Jack had always believed his life would be simple. He would study medicine, help people, and return home quietly. He never trained for glory, power, or destiny. That was why standing inside an alien palace felt unreal, like a dream that had gone too far. The palace of Lyrian was alive. The walls were made of crystal that softly pulsed like a heartbeat. Light flowed through them in gentle waves, reacting to every movement. Jack could hear his own breathing inside his helmet as armed alien guards escorted him forward. Their armor shimmered, their eyes cold and unreadable. At the end of the vast hall sat Queen Rosy. She was nothing like the terrifying alien rulers Jack had imagined. She was tall and elegant, her skin glowing like soft starlight. Long silver hair floated behind her as if gravity obeyed her alone. Her eyes, deep violet and ancient, rested on Jack with a calm that made his heart beat faster. She was injured. A long cut marked her arm, glowing faintly with blue-violet blood. The wound looked fresh. Powerful or not, pain did not spare queens. Jack swallowed his fear. He reminded himself why he was here. He was not a soldier. He was a medic. "I am here to treat the wound," Jack said carefully, his voice echoing through the hall. The guards hesitated. No one approached the queen without permission. Rosy lifted her hand slightly, and the guard stepped back at once. "Come closer, human," she said. Her voice was smooth, commanding, yet strangely gentle. Jack walked forward, his boots sounding too loud against the crystal floor. He knelt beside her throne, lowering his gaze in respect. From this close, he could see faint lines beneath her eyes, signs of exhaustion, not weakness. He prepared his tools with steady hands, though his heart raced. When he touched her arm, he paused for a brief moment. "May I?" he asked quietly. Rosy studied him. No one had ever asked her permission before. Slowly she nodded. Jack cleaned the wound with a soft cloth soaked in healing solution. His touch was careful, almost tender. He did not rush. He did not stare. He treated her as he would any patient who trusted him with pain. Rosy felt it instantly. Not just the relief of pain fading, but something deeper. His hands did not carry fear. They did not shake with worship or hunger for favor. They moved with focus and care. Something warm spread through her chest. Jack finished cleaning the wound and applied a glowing sealant. "It will heal," he said. "You should rest." He began to pull his hand away. Suddenly, Rosy grabbed his wrist. The air in the hall changed. Guards moved forward, weapons humming. Jack froze, his breath caught in his throat. Rosy's grip was firm, but not angry. "Do that again," she said. Jack looked up, confused. "My queen. I already treated the wound." "The touch," Rosy said softly. "Not the medicine. The way you did it." Jack hesitated. "I did not mean disrespect." "I know," she replied. "That is why I ask." Slowly, carefully, Jack placed his hand back on her arm. This time, Rosy did not look away. Her eyes stayed on his face, watching every breath, every movement. Jack's fingers brushed her skin gently, as if afraid the moment would break. The glowing blood beneath her skin calmed completely. But something else awakened. Rosy's heartbeat quickened. She tightened her grip slightly, not to restrain him, but to keep him close. Jack felt a strange pull in his chest, something warm, unfamiliar, and dangerous. No one spoke. The guards, the palace, the planet itself seemed to wait. When Jack finally withdrew his hand, Rosy did not release him at once. Her fingers slowly slid down to hold his hand instead. "You are different," she said quietly. "I am only human," Jack replied. Rosy tilted her head. "That may be the reason." She released him at last. "You will stay in the palace," she commanded. "As my healer." Jack's eyes widened. "My queen. This is not a request," she said, but her voice held no threat. "I wish to understand you." Jack bowed his head. "As you command." As he was escorted away, Rosy watched him leave. Her fingers tingled where his hand had been. For the first time in centuries, the throne beneath her felt cold. She did not understand what had happened. But she knew one thing with absolute certainty. The wound on her arm was healing. The wound in her heart had just been touched for the first time. Jack had been in the palace for 7 cycles, though time on Lyrian moved differently than on Earth. Days felt longer, quieter, heavier. He was given a private chamber made of smooth crystal walls that changed color with his emotions. At night, when his thoughts drifted to Queen Rosy, the walls glowed a soft violet without his permission. Every morning, Jack was summoned to check on Rosy's wound. It healed faster than expected, but she still asked him to stay longer each time. At first, they spoke little. Silence filled the space between them, not uncomfortable, but charged. Rosy watched him closely as he worked. She noticed the way his brows tightened when he focused, the way he exhaled slowly when the pain faded from her arm. No one had ever looked at her with concern before. They had looked at her with fear, loyalty, or ambition, but never concern. "You always breathe slower when you heal," Rosy observed one day. Jack smiled faintly. "It helps my hands stay steady." "Does it calm you?" she asked. "Yes," he answered honestly. "And the person I'm treating." Rosy thought about that long after he left. She began calling him for reasons that had nothing to do with healing. She asked him to walk with her through the palace gardens, vast glowing fields where plants responded to emotion. When Rosy felt calm, the flowers shimmered blue. When Jack laughed, golden light spread like sunrise. "What is laughter?" Rosy asked once, stopping near a cluster of floating petals. "It's release," Jack said, surprised by the question. "When something feels too heavy inside, it finds a way out." Rosy looked at the flowers, now glowing brighter than before. "Then you are dangerous, human," she said softly. "You change the world around you." Jack did not know how to answer that. At night, Rosy watched the stars from her balcony and thought of Jack. She had ruled for centuries, but had never felt loneliness until she realized what it was to be seen. Not as a queen, but as a being capable of pain and warmth. One evening, she asked him something she had never asked anyone. "Do you fear me?" Rosy said, standing closer than usual. Jack met her eyes. "I respect you. I was afraid at first. But fear fades when you treat someone like a person." Her breath caught slightly. "A person, not a symbol." "Yes," he said. She reached out, hesitated, then touched his hand. This time, Jack did not freeze. Their fingers rested together, uncertain, electric. Yet shadows were growing. The High Council had noticed changes in the palace. Energy patterns were unstable. The Queen dismissed guards. The planet itself reacted strangely to her moods. Whispers spread. "The Queen is compromised. The human weakens her. She feels." During a private council session, Rosy was warned. "Your attachment threatens balance," an elder said. "Humans do not belong here." Rosy's voice was calm but cold. "He is my healer." "Then remove him once his task is complete," the elder insisted. Rosy said nothing. That night, she summoned Jack urgently. He found her standing alone in the heart chamber, surrounded by flowing energy. "They want you gone," she said without turning. Jack felt his chest tighten. "Then I will leave." She turned sharply. "No." Her voice shook. "You cannot protect me," Jack said gently. "You are risking everything." Rosy stepped closer, her glow dimmed. "I ruled without feeling for centuries. I was strong, untouchable, and empty." She placed a hand over her chest. "You touched me once, and something woke up. I cannot silence it again." Jack lifted her hand slowly, holding it between both of his. "Then don't." For a moment, the universe held its breath. Rosy leaned forward, resting her forehead against his. Alien and human, breath mixing, hearts racing. "This is forbidden," she whispered. Jack smiled softly. "So is healing a queen without fear." A faint smile appeared on her lips. But alarms echoed through the palace. The council was moving faster than expected. Rosy straightened, power returning to her posture. "If they take you, they will erase you." Jack's voice was steady. "Then let me go before they come." Rosy's eyes burned with emotion. "No. I will not lose you to silence." She made a choice that would change everything. "You will stay," she said. "Not as my healer. Not as my subject." Jack looked at her, breathless. "As the one who reminds me I am alive." Outside the chamber, the palace lights shifted violently. The planet itself responded to the Queen's resolve. And far away, the council prepared to strike. The palace did not sleep that night. Its crystal walls pulsed with unstable light, reacting to Queen Rosy's emotions. The planet felt her conflict, duty against desire, crown against heart. Jack stood beside her in the heart chamber, feeling the vibration under his feet like a living pulse. "They are coming," Jack said quietly. Rosy nodded. She already knew. The High Council had never allowed weakness, and they believed love was the greatest weakness of all. To them, Jack was not a person. He was a flaw. Rosy turned to face him. Without her crown, she looked different, still powerful, but softer, more real. Her glow dimmed and brightened with every breath. "I have ruled for centuries," she said slowly. "I sacrificed everything for balance. I erased parts of myself to be a perfect queen." She stepped closer. "Then you came with shaking hands and a healer's heart, and you treated me like I mattered." Jack felt his throat tighten. "You always mattered." "Not like this," she whispered. The doors of the chamber trembled as energy signatures approached. Guards. Council enforcers. The end of peace. Rosy lifted her hand and touched Jack's face. Her fingers were warm now, no longer distant or divine. "If I protect you," she said, "I will lose my throne." Jack covered her hand with his own. "If I leave, you lose yourself." Her eyes filled with a light that was not power, but truth. The doors burst open. The High Council entered, surrounded by armed sentinels. Their presence felt cold, draining the warmth from the chamber. "Step away from the human," the lead elder commanded. "You are endangering the planet." Rosy moved forward instead, placing herself between Jack and the council. "I am the planet," she said, her voice echoing through crystal and energy alike. "And I choose." The elders stared in shock. "You would abandon eternity for a fragile human?" Rosy did not look back. He healed what eternity broke. Energy surged violently. The chamber glowed brighter than ever before. The planet responded, not in anger, but in recognition. The crystals resonated with Rosy's decision, amplifying it. Jack felt the ground shake. "Rosy," he called out. She reached back, holding his hand tightly. "Do not let go." The council tried to intervene, but the energy pushed them back. The living world rejected their control. For the first time in history, the queen was not alone in her power. With a final wave of light, the energy exploded outward, gentle, not destructive. Silence followed. When Jack opened his eyes, the chamber was calm. The council lay unconscious, their authority broken. The palace glowed in soft harmony again. Rosy collapsed. Jack caught her instantly, pulling her into his arms. Her glow was faint now, fragile. "Rosy," he whispered urgently. "Stay with me." She smiled weakly. "I am still here." He held her close, feeling her breath against his chest. "What did you do?" "I let go," she said. "Of the crown. Of the chains." Tears filled Jack's eyes. "You gave up everything." She looked up at him, eyes full of warmth. "No. I kept what mattered." Slowly, color returned to her skin, not the glow of a queen, but the warmth of a living being. The planet adjusted, accepting its new balance. Days later, the palace changed. There was no throne anymore. No council. The planet chose a new path, one guided by connection, not fear. Rosy was no longer Queen Rosy. She was simply Rosy. Jack stood with her in the gardens, watching the glowing flowers respond to their shared presence. Golden and violet light intertwined, blooming brighter than ever before. "Do you regret it?" Jack asked softly. Rosy shook her head. "For the first time, I wake without silence inside me." She took his hand. "And you?" Jack smiled. "I was just cleaning a wound." Rosy laughed, truly laughed, for the first time in her existence. The garden erupted in light. She leaned into him, resting her head against his chest. His heartbeat was steady, grounding. "Stay," she said quietly. Not as a command. As a wish. Jack wrapped his arms around her. "Always." Two worlds changed that day. Not through war or conquest, but through care, touch, and choice. And the legend would one day be told across stars. That a human healer touched an alien queen without fear. That a queen chose love over eternity. And that everything began when she grabbed his wrist and whispered, Do that again. Dizzy Red Heart.